The knock on the door jolts me from my half-asleep state. It's late, and the rhythmic drumming of rain against the window suggests a storm is brewing outside. I groan, swinging my legs off the bed and dragging myself to the door. When I open it, there she is, Emma, my wife, standing in the dim hallway with a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Surprise," she says, holding up a blindfold and a set of handcuffs. Her friends, standing behind her with barely contained grins, crowd the doorway. "What's this?" I ask, raising an eyebrow. "We're going on an adventure," Emma says, her voice playful. "Put this on. It'll be fun." Despite my initial apprehension, I comply. Emma and her friends, Anna, Mark, and Josh, had a knack for these elaborate, if not peculiar, outings. The last one involved solving puzzles in an abandoned factory, which had been intriguing and exhilarating. So, when they suggest another adventure, I resign myself to the fact that it will be equally bizarre, but hopefully entertaining. They lead me outside, the rain pouring down now. I'm guided into a van, and the door slams shut behind me. The vehicle's interior is damp and smells of leather and damp rain. I sit, trying to make out anything beyond the dim light seeping through the small windows, but the blindfold obscures everything. The ride feels interminable, each bump and turn making me question where exactly I'm being taken. Eventually, the van stops, and I'm pulled out and guided through a series of twists and turns until we reach a heavy wooden door. The sound of muffled music and indistinct chatter seeps through. When the door opens, a rush of warmth and strange, sweet-smelling incense greets me. I'm led inside, and despite the disorientation, I can sense a change in the atmosphere. The buzz of conversation is thicker, more intense. I hear laughter, the clinking of glasses, and something else, something unsettling. "All right, sit down," Emma says softly. I'm helped onto a wooden table, and the handcuffs snap onto my wrists, tethering me to the surface. The blindfold is adjusted tighter, and my heart starts to race, unsure of what's to come. I hear Emma whispering something to her friends, but it's too muffled to understand. The sound of rustling fabric follows. I feel hands, rough, male hands, pulling at my clothes. Panic surges through me as my tank top is pulled off. I wriggle, trying to protest, but the handcuffs restrict my movement. I'm helpless, and fear grips me tightly. The blindfold is adjusted, and I catch a glimpse of the room, a dimly lit, opulently decorated space. My eyes widen in horror when I see a figure in the center of the room, a man in leather attire, clearly engaged in something far from ordinary. My heart sinks as I turn my head, catching sight of Emma, naked and chained to the wall. The realization hits me like a physical blow. She's not just participating, she's the main attraction in this twisted display. My chest tightens, and my breath quickens as I process the scene. "What the hell is this?" I shout, my voice trembling. The blindfold shifts slightly, giving me a fragmented view of Emma's face, a mixture of pleasure and discomfort etched onto it. The man, catching sight of my reaction, sneers. "Welcome to the party," he says with a mocking tone. Emma's friends, standing at a distance, seem almost indifferent, their eyes avoiding mine. Mark steps forward, his face a mask of guilt. "We thought you could handle it." "Handle it? Handle what?" This wasn't some harmless game, this was a betrayal, a cruel joke at my expense. My mind races, trying to find a way out, a way to confront this madness. But all I can think of is how deeply I've been wronged. I twist and turn, desperately trying to free myself. Finally, with a forceful jerk, the handcuffs break, and I tumble onto the floor. My heart pounds as I stand, my gaze locked onto Emma. Anger and betrayal surge through me, fueling a resolve I didn't know I had. I storm towards Emma, my mind set on ending this charade. "Emma, we're damned. I'm done with all of this," I shout, my voice echoing through the room. The realization of what I'm about to do hits me hard. Divorce was the last thing I ever thought I'd need, but this is beyond repair. Emma's eyes widen in shock, and for a brief moment, I see the vulnerability that was hidden beneath her facade. Turning to face the crowd, I address them with a finality that surprises even me. This farce ends now. You've all been part of a twisted betrayal. With a heavy heart and a mind clouded by anger and sadness, I walk out, the heavy wooden door closing behind me. The rain still falls heavily outside, mingling with the tears I can't hold back. My life, my marriage, everything has just changed irrevocably. The rain continues its relentless assault as I stumble through the door into the night. My shirt is still missing, and the cold droplets soak into my skin, making me shiver. The heavy wooden door slams shut behind me, sealing off the nightmarish scene I just fled. I don't know where I'm going, only that I need to get as far away from that place as possible. I walk aimlessly, the rain mingling with my tears as I wrestle with the storm of emotions inside me. My phone buzzes in my pocket, and I pull it out to see Emma's name flashing on the screen. I ignore it and continue walking. Eventually, I find myself outside a small cafe still open, its warm light a beacon in the storm. I stumble in, dripping and disheveled. The barista, a young woman with sympathetic eyes, eyes me with concern. "Are you okay?" she asks, her voice barely audible over the hum of the coffee machine. I need a place to sit, I manage, my voice cracking. I sit at a small table in the corner, the weight of what happened sinking in. I don't know how long I sit there, lost in my thoughts, when the cafe door swings open and in walks Mark, one of Emma's friends. "Hey, we need to talk," Mark says urgently, spotting me and making his way over. His face is pale, eyes wide with concern. "I don't want to talk to any of you," I reply sharply, my anger flaring again. "You betrayed me. All of you." Mark takes a deep breath, sitting down across from me. "I know. And I'm sorry. We didn't know it would go this far." "Didn't know?" I practically shout. "Didn't know what?" "That you were setting me up for a show of betrayal and humiliation?" "We were supposed to keep it a secret, but things got out of hand," Mark explains, his voice trembling. "Emma was planning something, but we didn't realize it would be like this. She said it was supposed to be a new experience for you, something thrilling." "A new experience?" I almost laugh, though there's no humor in it. "You think this is thrilling?" "This was a sadistic stunt." Mark's face contorts with guilt. "Look, we thought it would be funny, or at least surprising, but we didn't know Emma had taken it this far. She's changed. And now, she's panicking." My phone buzzes again. This time, I see multiple messages from Emma and her friends, including one from a name I don't recognize, Lila. The messages are frantic, pleading for me to come back or at least answer. "Who's Lila?" I ask Mark, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and confusion. "Lila's Emma's new friend," Mark explains. "She's into this kind of scene. Emma got involved with her, and things took a turn for the worse. Lila's been pushing her into more extreme stuff." Before I can respond, the cafe door opens again, and a tall, striking woman with a commanding presence walks in. Her dark hair cascades in waves, and she moves with an almost predatory grace. She scans the room until her eyes land on me. "James, right," she says, her voice smooth and authoritative. "I'm Lila. We need to talk." I stiffen. "I have nothing to say to you." Lila's gaze is unflinching. "I understand you're angry, but I'm here to clear things up. Emma's in a bad spot, and we need to address this before things spiral further." I glance at Mark, who nods reluctantly. "You should listen to her, James. She's been trying to help." Reluctantly, I nod and let Lila sit down. She gestures for Mark to leave, which he does reluctantly, leaving me alone with her. Lila leans in, her expression serious. "Emma didn't mean for things to get this out of hand," Lila begins. "She's in trouble. There's more to this than just a prank. We've all been caught up in something we didn't fully understand." "Trouble? Like what kind of trouble?" I ask, my voice laden with skepticism. Lila sighs, rubbing her temples. "Emma's been drawn into a darker side of our community, one that's not just about kinky fun but about power and manipulation. We're talking about serious people with serious influence. What does that have to do with me? I demand. Why should I care? Because, Lila says, her eyes locking onto mine, Emma is in over her head. The people she's involved with aren't just going to let this go. They might come after her, and anyone associated with her. Including you. I feel a chill run down my spine. The enormity of what Lila is saying hits me like a ton of bricks. So, what am I supposed to do? Just walk away and leave her to whatever mess she's made? Lila's face softens. No. I'm here to offer you a way to fix this. We need to work together to get Emma out of this situation, but you have to understand that it's dangerous. And it's not just about saving her. It's about protecting yourself from the fallout. I sit back, my mind racing. The betrayal stings, but the threat Lila's mentioned makes it clear that there's more at stake than personal hurt. If what she says is true, then this situation could spiral into something far more dangerous. I'll help, I finally say, my voice steadying. But only if you're honest with me about everything. No more secrets. Lila nods, relief evident in her eyes. That's all I ask. We'll need to move quickly. As we leave the cafe, the rain begins to slow, and the storm seems to echo the turbulence in my mind. I don't know what lies ahead, but one thing is clear, I'm no longer just dealing with a personal betrayal. I'm stepping into a darker, more dangerous world, and I have no choice but to navigate it if I want to protect myself and Emma. Lila and I drive through the rain-slicked streets, the windshield wipers working furiously against the downpour. Her sleek black SUV cuts through the night, the city lights reflecting off the wet pavement. I sit in the passenger seat, tense and focused, trying to piece together the fragmented information she's given me. So, I say, breaking the silence, what exactly am I stepping into here? You said something about a darker side of the community. What does that mean? Lila glances at me, her expression grim. It means that there are people who use the lifestyle not just for pleasure, but for manipulation and control. They operate in the shadows, using their influence to get what they want, and they don't take kindly to disruptions. That sounds like a bad movie plot, I mutter, though the reality is starting to sink in. It's very real, Lila says. Emma got involved with a group that's dangerous, more than just people playing out fantasies. They have connections, resources, and a willingness to use them. Emma's mistake was thinking she could control it. Why are you helping me? I ask, trying to gauge her sincerity. You're part of this world, too. What's in it for you? Lila's gaze hardens. I'm not involved with them directly. I'm more of a mediator, someone who tries to help people navigate the darker sides of this lifestyle. When I saw Emma's situation, I knew it was serious. I don't want anyone to get hurt, especially not someone who's just caught up in the chaos. The SUV pulls into a secluded parking lot behind a nondescript building. The rain pelts down, drumming against the roof. Lila turns off the engine and faces me. Lila turns off the engine. One who can give us more information, she says. This is Alex. He's an insider, and he can help us understand what we're dealing with. I nod, trying to steady my nerves. What if Emma's already in too deep? What if it's too late to save her? Lila's eyes soften. It's never too late. But we need to act quickly. These people are powerful and unpredictable. We exit the SUV and make our way to a side entrance of the building. The air is thick with tension as Lila unlocks the door and leads me down a dimly lit hallway. The building feels old, its walls lined with peeling wallpaper and the faint smell of mildew. We reach a door marked office and Lila knocks twice before opening it. Inside, a man with a scruffy beard and intense eyes is seated behind a desk cluttered with papers and empty coffee cups. He looks up, his gaze sharp and assessing. Alex, Lila says, this is James. He's here to get some answers. Alex nods, studying me with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Sit down. We don't have much time. I take a seat, feeling a mixture of anxiety and determination. So, what can you tell me about this group Emma's involved with? Alex leans forward, his eyes narrowing. They're called the Dominion. They're a small but influential network within the lifestyle community. They don't just engage in the activities you're familiar with, they manipulate and control those who get involved. They use their power to exploit weaknesses, and they're known for their ruthless tactics. Ruthless tactics? I repeat. Like what? Extortion, blackmail, and psychological manipulation, Alex explains. They prey on people's vulnerabilities. Emma was probably drawn in by the allure of power and exclusivity, but now she's caught in their web. My heart sinks. What do I do? How can I help her? Alex leans back, considering. First, you need to understand their hierarchy. They have leaders who rarely reveal themselves, but there are middlemen who do their bidding. Your best bet is to find out who these middlemen are and what they're planning. They won't be easy to deal with, but they might be more accessible. And how do I find them? I ask. Alex hands me a folder. This contains information on known associates and possible locations. It's not complete, but it's a start. Be careful. They have eyes everywhere. I take the folder, my mind racing. And what about Emma? How do I find her? Alex's expression darkens. That's the hard part. She could be anywhere. They might have her hidden away to ensure she doesn't talk or cause trouble. You'll need to dig into their operations and hope you find a lead. Lila places a hand on my shoulder. We'll help you as much as we can. But remember, these people play for keeps. They won't hesitate to hurt anyone who threatens their control. I nod, my resolve hardening. I'll do whatever it takes to get Emma out of this mess. We leave the building, the rain now a light drizzle, but the weight of what lies ahead is heavy on my shoulders. The information Alex gave me is a lifeline, but it's also a dangerous path. I know that every step I take could lead to more peril. Back in the SUV, Lila drives me to a small motel where I can plan my next move. As we pull up, she looks at me with a mixture of concern and respect. Keep your phone close and be cautious, she advises. I'll check in with you soon, but be prepared to act on your own if necessary. Thanks, Lila, I say, stepping out into the drizzle. I'll keep in touch. As I enter the motel room, I close the door behind me and sit at the small table, opening the folder Alex gave me. The documents are filled with names, addresses, and cryptic notes. It's a starting point, but it's clear that the road ahead will be treacherous. Knowing that finding Emma and unraveling the web of the Dominion is only the beginning. The real challenge will be facing the darkness that lies ahead and finding a way to save her before it's too late. The motel room is dimly lit, the fluorescent light flickering overhead as I sift through the documents Alex gave me. My mind races, piecing together the clues and planning my next move. Every name, address, and note feels like a potential lead, but I'm also aware that any wrong step could lead to disaster. My phone buzzes, and I see a message from Lila. I've got a lead. Meet me at the old warehouse on Elm Street. We need to talk. I grab my jacket and head out into the chilly night, the drizzle having turned into a steady rain. The old warehouse is a few miles away, and I drive cautiously, my mind focused on the impending meeting. When I arrive, the warehouse stands as a grim silhouette against the stormy sky, its windows dark and unwelcoming. I enter through a side door, and the sound of my footsteps echoes through the cavernous space. Lila is already there, her face illuminated by the dim light of a single hanging bulb. She looks anxious, her eyes darting around as if expecting someone, or something, to arrive at any moment. "James, you made it," she says, her voice urgent. "I've uncovered something big." "Good," I reply. "What did you find?" Lila hands me a folder, similar to the one Alex gave me, but thicker, its contents more detailed. This is a list of members within the Dominion. I've cross-referenced it with known locations and found a pattern. Emma's being held at a location tied to one of their key members, someone named Victor DeLuca. I scan the information, feeling a cold dread settle in. Victor DeLuca? I've heard of him. He's notorious for his ruthless methods. Exactly, Lila says. We need to move fast. I have an address for a warehouse where they're likely keeping Emma. I nod, adrenaline surging as I prepare to leave. Let's go. We need to get her out of there. Lila and I drive to the new location, a nondescript building on the edge of town. As we approach, I see several cars parked outside, their lights casting eerie shadows on the ground. Lila and I exchange a determined glance before making our way to the entrance. Inside, the warehouse is eerily quiet, save for the distant hum of machinery. We navigate through dark corridors, following the map's directions until we reach a heavy metal door. I try the handle, but it's locked. Wait, Lila says, pulling out a set of tools. Let me handle this. Within moments, the lock clicks open, and we slip inside. The room is dimly lit, with harsh, flickering lights revealing a setup that's both lavish and sinister. Chains and restraints hang from the walls, and in the center of the room is a figure bound and unconscious, Emma. My heart skips a beat. Emma! I rush to her side, carefully removing the restraints. As she starts to regain consciousness, she looks up at me with a mixture of confusion and relief. James? Emma, we're getting you out of here, I say, helping her to her feet. Suddenly, the door slams open with a thunderous bang. Victor DeLuca, a tall man with a cold, calculating gaze, storms in, flanked by two burly enforcers. He glares at us, his expression a blend of rage and satisfaction. So, you've come to rescue her, Victor says, his voice dripping with disdain. I must commend your persistence, but you're too late. What do you want with her? I demand, stepping between Emma and Victor. Victor's eyes narrow. Emma was a valuable asset, but now she's a liability. She was meant to be a part of our organization, not a disruptor. Lila steps forward, her expression tense. Victor, this has gone too far. You're crossing lines even you can't justify. Victor laughs darkly. Lines? There are no lines in this world. Only power and control. Before we can react, Victor's enforcers advance, but Lila pulls out a concealed weapon and fires, incapacitating them with precise shots. The room erupts into chaos, but the immediate threat is neutralized. Run! Lila shouts. Get Emma out of here! Emma and I sprint through the warehouse, the sounds of pursuit growing fainter behind us. We reach the exit and burst into the night, the rain now a torrential downpour. As we make our way to the car, Emma looks at me with a mix of gratitude and guilt. I'm so sorry, James, she says, her voice trembling. I never meant for any of this to happen. I look at her, my heart heavy with a mix of anger and sorrow. You've put us both through hell, Emma. This goes beyond just a mistake. It's betrayal. We drive away from the warehouse, but my thoughts are far from the safety of the car. The betrayal cuts deep, and the trust we once shared is shattered. Lila's words from earlier echo in my mind, about power, control, and the darkness that lies beneath. As we arrive at a safe location, I turn to Emma, my face set in grim resolve. I can't do this anymore. I can't stay in a relationship built on lies and deceit. Emma's face crumples with despair. Please, James. I love you. We can fix this. No, I say firmly. What's done is done. We're not the same people we were before. I need to move on. Emma's eyes fill with tears as I step out of the car and walk away, leaving her behind. The night is filled with the sound of the rain and the distant hum of city life, but there's no solace to be found. I walk away from the past and toward an uncertain future, knowing that the path I've chosen is one of separation and finality. The storm that raged outside mirrors the turmoil inside me, and as I step into the unknown, I realize that this is the end of the line. In the silence of the night, the only sound is the rain and the fading echoes of a life that has been irreparably changed.